I? Who and what am I? What's my impact on you people? And by the way, you'll have decided that already. You'll have a decision about me already. You'll say, he looks a little bit like Jim Carrey. Alrighty then. Or, I've had it said, Tony Blair. A little bit of, no, Tony Blair. Somebody else said Mike McIntyre. A little bit of that. Yeah, oh yeah, Mike McIntyre. You'll have a decision about me based on who you are, based on your experiences, based on whether or not I'm a nice person in your past compared to, or somebody who stole your dinner money at school and beat you up at the bus stop. And if that was me, I do apologize. Right. Self-awareness, it starts with. Then it moves into two different areas, two different categories. If I'm aware of myself, then I should comfortably become aware of myself in a social situation. And when I say a social situation, I don't mean like down at the pub or at the bar, necessarily, not exclusively. I just mean with other people. A social situation with other people. If I'm aware of my impact in that situation, then perhaps I can self-manage. Does anybody here understand or have studied something called NLP, neuro-linguistics? I've got a couple of hands there. I don't want to sort of go into that, but you'll understand what I mean then by state management, self-management or state management. When I was driving to the airport just yesterday, I came to a roundabout and this white van pulled out in front of me. It's my road. I'm driving on it. So I wanted to, I checked to see if the driver's bigger than me first, but my road, came to my road. So it's very easy to react, and that's a very important point. I allow myself the reaction, because that's psychologically important, the fight, the flight, or the freeze. And if I were to, I don't know, boo! Some of you will have gone, oh, that's your little fight, flight, or freeze reaction. So we've got to allow that reaction. But, going back to my white van, I suddenly realized that the van was in fact an ambulance. So straight away I'm thinking, please, go before me. Allow them to go before me. My whole state, whole mind changed based on external information. But wouldn't it be a great idea to change that mind, change that state, based on internal information? Why can't I be in control of myself? And I think if we go down this route, we can. I struggle with it every day, but it's a great journey to start. Because if you're self-aware and socially aware, and thus can manage one's own state, then your relationship management issues are enhanced positively. And if we're talking about how important relationships are, then this is a good thing. So our positive impact on others goes through the roof. Does this work every time? No. If it did, I would be on my yacht in the Caribbean right now. I'm getting there. Behavior. Nothing new, you know. Started a long time ago. The study of behavior started, from what we understand, with this man, Hippocrates. 500 BC, a long time ago. Some of you may even remember. A long time ago, Hippocrates on the island of Kos. Anybody know what Hippocrates was or did? What was he? Who said Greek? Philosopher. Somebody said philosopher. Doctor. Doctor. Even now I believe that the newly qualified doctors get the opportunity to quote the Hippocratic Oath. I swear by Apollo, first to do no harm, and all that good stuff. What an incredible legacy from somebody who lived so many centuries ago. Incredible legacy. Why? Well, why? Because at a time when it was against the law, really, to do so, he considered that our behavior was not so much to do with the spirits, the gods, and the evil eye. No, our behavior, he thought, was to do with something going on inside. He, perhaps mistakenly, it's still up for grabs, I suppose, suggested that our behavior was dictated by the amount of fluids, different fluids, we had in our bodies. And he, again, very unusually for the time, would cut people open usually after they were dead, which is obviously an advantage. And by that definition, this is why we call him the doctor. And he would then draw what he found. One of the first people to do so. And he would equate the amount of certain fluids he found within the body with the behavior of that person when they were alive. And he picked up on the fact there were 4 distinct styles of behavior, which we sort of still use now. Now, what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and act each of these behaviors for you so that you get a real sense of what Hippocrates saw back on the island of Kos, 500 BC. There's 4 different colors, 4 different behaviors. The same problem, ladies and gentlemen. The problem is, I have hurt my arm. Simple as that. I've hurt my arm. But it was presented in 4 very distinctly different ways. And I'm going to see if I can illustrate those ways. Now, I'm the patient, so one of you is going to have to be the doctor. Why is everybody looking away? Okay. I'll have to choose one of you to be the doctors, but that's how it goes. Let's go like this. Doctor? There was a sign on the door saying no appointment necessary. That's very useful for me because I'm very, very busy. I've got not much time now. I've hurt my arm quite badly. I need you to sort it out quickly. Can you do it? Yes or no? Speak up. No. Goodbye. Now, thank you. Ow. Now, obviously, I'm showing that behavior extreme, in slight extreme, just for the purposes of contrast. But there are people out there who start from that behavioral purpose. They start from that style. What did you see in that style of behavior? What's the word that you would use for that? Aggressive. Impatient. Rude, somebody said. Did anybody see purposeful? Anybody see driven? Did anybody see not wasting this man's time? Did anybody see the positive version? No. Yes, thank you. I just do such a good job of doing it extremely, don't I? There is good and there is bad in every type of behavior. This type of behavior, it was thought, belonged to people that came to be known as the cholerics or cholerics. They were seen as tough-minded, quite aggressive, but purposeful driving, and very energetic in that way. There's a lot about themselves, and they were always in a hurry, getting things done. Too much fluid, called, rather paradoxically, yellow bile. Too much yellow bile coursing through, well, whatever yellow bile courses through, I'm sure you'd be able to ducts. There you go. Cholerics. Pain in the arm, same problem. Let's try this one. Yeah. Yo, Dr. Hippocrates, my man, give me 5. On the side, down below, you're too slow. Hey, good to see you, doctor. How you doing? You okay? Yeah, me too. I'm fantastic. Great party. Fantastic party. Didn't we drink? I drank so much I nearly fell over twice. I was doing those cartwheels across your lawn. I laughed so much a little bit of wee came out a couple of times. Anyway, when they stop laughing, I'll stop doing it. But anyway, I've hurt my arm. Having done those cartwheels, well, you can imagine, can't you? Really badly. So what I thought you and I could do, go down the pub, have a few more drinks, and then you can sort my arm out. What do you reckon? Yeah, let's do it. Come on, down by the river. Nice one. Thank you. Okay. I was doing this the other day, and English speakers among you will really get this. I was doing this the other day, and I came back to the front, and I said, and what did we see there? And there was a guy at the back sitting there like this. I said, what did we see there? And he said, bit of a dickhead, really. I don't know how that translated, but good luck with it. Thank you for that. He's just called me a dickhead, yeah. I have a confession to make later, but yeah. This is just behavior. The behavior you may have seen may have been hectic, manic, over the top, crazy. It might have been very friendly, very enthusiastic, very positive. Nice guy to be around, party-loving. How you take the behavior is more interesting to me than the behavior itself. This type came to be known as the sanguine. Too much what? Any idea? Fluids? Sang? Blood. Too much blood coursing through their veins. Distinct from this type. Hello, Doctor. How are you? Yes, yeah, good to see you. May I come and sit down? Thank you so much. How are you? It's good to see you. Good to see you. Hello. Now then, how's your wife? Wife's okay? And the children? That's fantastic. Really, really nice to see you. And I value your being here. It's very important. You're our doctor, and we've always been loyal to you. And thank you so much for being my doctor. Oh, my arm, yes. I've hurt my arm badly. I was helping my wife across the stream at the bottom of my gut. We had a big party with all our family, and all the children were there, and all the aunts and the cousins, and it was a wonderful party, and I really enjoyed having everybody there. But I was helping Portia, my wife, across the stream, and I strained my arm quite badly. Well, she's quite a big lady, so well, she is. And having helped her across the stream, and I hurt my arm, I didn't tell her. I didn't want to upset her. So I thought I'd pop along to see you, to see if you could have a quick look, and see if you could do... Would that be... Well, that said, I came through the waiting room, and there were a lot of people over there that seemed to be a lot worse off than me. So I'm going to let them come through first. Then, yeah, no, really. And if there's a bit of time at the end of the day, perhaps we could have a quick look. Thanks ever so much. Careful. Just behavior. Was anybody thinking, just get on with it? Don't want to know all that detail about your family and your wife and all that wonderful talk. Or did people say, that was a person who was interested in the person in front of them? That was the sort of person who seemed to be very caring, very encouraging. Seemed to be the sort of person who was what we would call very nice and friendly but low-key. Or did you see somebody who was a bit pathetic, a bit wishy-washy, somebody who needed to get to the point, and somebody who was a little bit weak-willed? Which of the two? Because they were perhaps both there. These people came to be known as the phlegmatics. This is about phlegm. What I've tried to illustrate here is that this style of behavior is the diametric opposite of this style. Do you remember the red? I was in, out, sorted it. This one, lots of time, lots about the other person. So, if those two are opposites, then these two will be opposites. Let's see what happens here. Four, three, two. Appointment time. Herr Doctor, I was digging in my garden yesterday afternoon at approximately 2:57 p.m. I was using my Spear & Jackson branded spade. I pressed down on the blade of that spade at an angle to the parallel of some 47 degrees. I exerted a pressure of some 512 pounds per square inch. I know this because the ensuing pain went through my metatarsal bone, up through my tibia and across my patella. It then went up through my femur and transversed my pelvic girdle. The pain continued its journey across my intercostal muscles, down through my scapula, through my humerus bone, and the pain currently resides in my carpal tunnel. I know this because I have researched it very carefully, and I probably now know more about it than you do. It is my intention to speak to yourself and 2 other physicians to get their opinion, after which I will make the decision as to which physician best suits my needs. Goodbye. Thank you. I was doing this the other day. There was a lady very similar, laughing. Almost fell off her chair laughing. And I came back here and I said, "What did we see?" She said, "My husband!" Hey guys, it's just behavior. It's just behavior. And I'm showing it to you in extremis. I wanted to show you the difference in extremes here. These people came to be known as the melancholics. This is black bile. These people were serious in their approach. You may have seen that seriousness come through. You may have seen precision. You may have seen knowledgeable. You may have seen cautious. You also may have seen somebody who was pretty, think of the word analytical, then think of the first 4 letters. I don't know if that translates, but anybody who gets some English, just let them know. It's just behavior, and we have our opposites in terms of that behavior. The likelihood is you will have a version of that behavior in you. Perhaps you have many similarities between some of this. Perhaps you know some people with this sort of behavior. Well, this model of human behavior lasted a long time, as I've already said. It came through to the 1850s, 1860s, when medical science, back then, those of you who have done medical science, and I know many of you have, will know that up until then, we were still dealing with, if you had too much choleric, too much bile, they would give you emetics, seawater or salt water to drink to bring the bile up, to calm you down. They would also, from the too much blood point of view, they would cut you open and put leeches on you to get rid of some of that blood, just to calm you down a bit more. Over here, the phlegmatics, they would give nasal aspiration to allow all the phlegm to come from wherever the phlegm comes from. And of course, melancholic. This was black bile. It's now understood that black bile is exactly the same as yellow bile, except it was just been exposed to the oxygen for a couple of hours. So it's no real difference. The problem was medical science didn't get this, and they thought that black bile settled at the base of the skull, about here. So they did something called trepanning, drilling a hole at the bottom of the skull and let all that fluid come out. Makes you feel a lot better, apparently. Perhaps in 100 years' time, we'll be looking back on the medical practitioners of today and laughing in the same way, who knows? And perhaps you're at the forefront of that, so good luck with it. Luckily, medical science did move on, as did psychology. If you start to think about psychology and start to think in the past, 2 people came along about this sort of time, not far from this area, I believe. 2 people came along who changed the way people think about people forever. Any idea who they might have been? Mr. Sigmund Freud, yes, of course. And Jung, Carl Gustav Jung. And Freud and Jung were close friends. In fact, Freud was the mentor of Jung for a while, until he went down his own particular route. For those of you with a primary English, do you understand what a Freudian slip is? It's when you say one thing, but mean your mother. Mean your mother. Oh, did I say mean your mother? All right, it wasn't that funny then. Okay. Freud and Jung came along and changed the way we think about people forever. I want to talk a little bit about Jung, because Jung came up with the idea that we have psychological preferences. He coined this phrase, psychological preferences, and most of the English that I use has been translated from the High German that he used in his work. He coined the phrase introvert and extrovert. If you consider those 2 elements are on a line, a continuum, if you will, and you will fold your arms psychologically more comfortably Up at this end? Or up at that end? Where do you think I might fit on that line, me? Do you think I'm quiet, discerning, and inner-focused? Or do you think I'm yes, it's more likely to be extroverted. So it's usually the most obvious sign of somebody's psychological preferences, which is why I've put it slightly larger. We tend to get very quickly whether somebody is externally focused or internally focused. Extroverted